From the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens. This next song is one of my favorite things, which is appropriate because the song is called My Favorite Things, and it's from The Sound of Music. Most of us know The Sound of Music from the 1965 film that stars Julie Andrews, but it originally began its life, The Sound of Music, as a 1959 Broadway musical that starred Mary Martin. And this song, My Favorite Things, as is depicted in the film, it is sung by Julie Andrews as Maria to children who were scared during a rainstorm. But in the Broadway show, it was performed in a different setting. Maria, who was played by Mary Martin, is singing it as a duet with the Mother Abbess in the Abbey. It's a song about things that they like. It wasn't a song about running from fear, but it was just something that gave them a chance to sing about things that they found gratifying in life. This happens to be the original set design for that scene in The Sound of Music. It's part of the Oliver Smith collection here at the Library of Congress. This is a song that Oscar Hammerstein worked a long time on. It was several days, but it was a process that he had to go through to get to the final idea for the thing. And the first thing that you'll notice looking at this bunch of his lyric sheets is that the folder in which these lyrics repose says, "Good Things." That's crossed out, and below it, in ink, it says, "My Favorite Things." But the original idea, as he started to work on this lyric, was a list of good things that she liked. Now, when we open to this first page, and the good thing about Hammerstein is that in many of the instances of the lyric sheets that survive, he dated them. And this is dated June 26th, presumably 1959. And he lists good things: kittens, mittens, snowflakes, stars in the ocean, laughter, merry-go-rounds, and so on. So he's just starting the process of figuring out what kind of form this thing is going to take. Then, the next day, June 27th, there's not much on this page, but what is here is very significant because it has the most important line, or I should say the opening line from the song, "Raindrops on Roses." Then the day after that, June 28th, he has typed a bunch of these lyrics that really start to put the song into form. He's got the opening line, or almost, "Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, curling my fingers in warm woolen mittens," and so on. But the other thing that is very significant about this particular sheet, it says at the top, he's written, "My favorite things." And here in this fourth line, he originally has, "These are a few of the things that I like." And then next to it in ink, it says, "My favorite things." Eureka! That's the thing that he was looking for. Because things that I like had to be a working lyric. In other words, something that he probably wasn't going to settle on because it doesn't sing easily in the mouth. Things that I like, the word like, it cuts off and you cannot sustain it. The word things, "These are a few of my favorite things," you can sustain, and there's a big difference for a singer. And Hammerstein, having written so many lyrics through the years, this indeed being his last Broadway show shortly before his death, knew that things would sing much better than like. So, this lyric goes on with a lot of the lines that we have come to know and love in the song. And then the next day, the 29th of June, he has just created a list of words that rhyme with things. He's definitely decided that "My Favorite Things" is the title, but now he's got to come up with rhymes for things. So we've got clings, kings, he's got rings circled, springs, strings, swings, slings, and so on. This says brown paper packages tied up with strings, just sort of written incidentally in the margin. How about that? So that's the exciting thing about going through all of these lyric sheets. And then this final lyric sheet that we have here, that presumably came after all the others, even though it is not dated, has virtually the entire song as we know it, with a few changes. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. It's almost all here. beneath all the typed lyrics, there is the scrawled handwriting. It's not easy to read. This I can't quite make out. But this last stanza here, when the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. If we didn't know what the lyric was, this would be very hard to make out. It would be very hard to decipher. But since we know the famous lyric, it is obvious that that is what this is. And that's the exciting thing about looking through all these pieces of paper that are rather extraordinary that they have survived and are stored here at the library. So now, let's listen to the song. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad.
This has been a presentation of the Library of Congress. Visit us at loc.gov.